So you're going to have a 3-month vacation with Tara, and she's a very nice person to have to go on vacation with. She's very even-minded. She's not grumpy and grouchy. You know what you're getting from day to day. She doesn't vacillate moods, and you know that she's going to be very compassionate. So if something is wrong in your holiday, not coming from Tara. So we have to remember that it's our afflictions that are the source of suffering. Right? And this, if all you get from the retreat is this understanding that the afflictions are the source of suffering, then your retreat has been wildly successful. Because our usual pattern is the source of suffering is outside, it's somebody else, it's something else, as to change the world. Or we blame ourselves for everything, that there's this big I who is inherently bad and unqualified and stupid and ridiculous, and that self is the cause of all suffering. Okay, so we're very into blaming, either outside or inside, but that doesn't really work, does it? Just trying to control the external world is a dead end. We can't do it. Even if we could, we would change our mind the next day of what we want the external world to be. Because our mind is not so stable. Okay? And blaming ourselves also is a dead end, because we have the Buddha nature, we have the ability to become completely enlightened beings. And so torturing ourselves with a lot of self-blame also doesn't do anything productive. Yeah? So it's the afflictions, which are mental factors in our mind that are not who we are, that are the source of the misery. Okay? The afflictions, jealousy, conceit, attachment, anger, those kinds of things. And they're all rooted in ignorance, in the wrong view of how we exist and how phenomena around us exist. But we don't realize that we have a wrong view. We don't understand that we hold the wrong view to be reality. Like we were born with sunglasses on and think that everything from its side is dark, because we've never seen it any other way. Yeah? And so this is where meditation comes in, and specifically analytical meditation, because we begin to analyze, can things really exist in the way they appear to me to exist? Yeah, because things appear as if they're objective things out there with their own essence, permanent, coming from their own side. But if they had their own essence from their own side, then they would be independent of all other entities. And if things are independent, then they can't affect each other. Okay? So if everything had its own inherent entity, if this was a bell from its own side, this is a drum from its own side, and I'm me from my own side, this feeling that there's just solid, concrete essences to everything. If there were really such an essence that was just strong and independent there, then it couldn't change. And if things can't change, then there would be no way we could relate to each other and affect each other. Right? But when we look, we see that things are dependent on other factors. We as a human being are dependent on many other factors. It's not like there's just this big self that's always been there. But the body depends on, the sperm and egg and all the food. The mind depends on the previous moments of mind. Both of them are influenced by the external environment, and how the environment affects us depends on us having organs sense organs and consciousnesses that perceive objects and so on. And so when we begin to look, we see that things really influence each other and affect each other. Yeah? And so if things are dependent on other factors like that, then there's no way they can have their own solid, independent essence. Because something can't be, it's not like, well, there's really this fixed me, but then these certain aspects around me change. Because you can't be both independent and dependent at the same time. There's part of a real me, but then I change my mind and my body changes and blah, blah. But wait a minute, what's this solid me that we think is there that's separate from the body and mind? And can there be something about us that's independent and then the rest of us, interacts with the world and changes and is dependent? It can't be like that. Okay? But we have to reflect on this, and through doing so, then we get some understanding how our usual view is incorrect. Okay? So this view of how we, first how things appear to us to exist, and then how we hold them to exist from our side. Okay? And then because we think everything is independent with its own essence, then, there's a real me and there's these real things, and so you got to fight with them. Or either that or grab at the ones you want and fight with the ones you don't want. Okay? And so that's kind of the story of our life, isn't it? What we're always doing. Yeah? So, in the retreat, we really start looking at our own mind and how our own mind works, how it operates, what kind of mental factors or mental states arise, and what conditions those, and what are their effects. Okay? And so often we're really out of touch with what's going on inside of ourselves, even though we live with ourselves all the time. Yeah? Attachment comes, anger comes, depression comes, laziness comes, arrogance comes, all these things, come and go and come and go. And we're so often so absorbed in the external world or so completely spaced out that we're not even aware of these different moods and mental factors that have come through our minds. And so, they all have effects. And so if we aren't aware of these mental states, then it's going to be difficult to be aware of the effects that they have on us. Okay, when we're angry, what's the effect of being angry? How does it affect me? How does it affect the people around me? When my mind's filled with clinging attachment, and I'm indulging in sense pleasure, how does my mind feel and how do I affect the people around me? Okay? And then what makes these mental states arise? Where did they come from anyway? Yeah? Did we catch them from somebody else? You made me mad, so I caught anger from you, like a virus? No.